One of the keys will be whether or not High Point has a decisive edge facing off, so we'll be keeping an eye on that.
Two veteran goalies, Zach Vigue and Zach Overend. It's Anthony DiCenzo taking the draw against Ricardo, who comes up with the ground ball, and the opening possession belongs to High Point.
And it's nice to have the one little piece of experience back with your with Wickstead at the player at X, where we really need a decision maker.
Well defended there by Smith. Now Cook dodging. Ball knocked loose. Spiders come up with a turnover. Tommy Stull with the ground ball. Here's Joe Sheridan. Starts to dodge from below goal line for Max Merklinger. One of a dozen seniors celebrating senior day today. Merklinger, ball knocked loose by James Westbrooks. Here comes an area where the Spiders have struggled, and that's a man up near the bottom of the A10, the man up unit. They haven't been on it a whole bunch.
No, you know, it's funny, and I've watched it in other games also. There are just not a lot of penalties called these days. You know, and so Richmond has not, it's almost like statistically insignificant, their numbers on extra man.
Lucas Olson step down denied by Zach Overend. And the 30-second technical for offside, mostly killed off by Kyle Stevens on the clear. Now Josh Weitzman. Ball knocked loose by Braden Penafeather Stevenson. Ground ball for Lucas Olson, who was scrambling back to defend. Now unsettled Richmond for Littlejohn.
It's because this young man for High Point Overend has been very good in the games I've had a chance to watch them play. And he's off to a good start here today with two good saves.
Sheridan got topside, and Overend again has the answer. And he goes over the top. That one squirted off Jack McAdams, who's unable to keep it alive, and the possession belongs to Richmond. Lucas Olson, Sheridan. Olson the step down, and again, Overend has the response.
Overend's got 4 saves here in the first few minutes of the game.
High Point with the ball out of the timeout. Colin Cook starts to dodge. Played by Dunham. Now Justin Wickstead. He gets topside, but Vigue gets the cross down.
You always like to see your goalie get his first one, you know, especially if he's been sitting in the goal for a bit and not getting a lot of action. It's a good start for Zach.
Ricciardi, discouraged by John Adams. Now Aiden O'Neill, 10 to shoot. O'Neill trying to get one off in traffic. Ball winds up on the turf, and it's scooped up by Stevens for High Point. And Alpaw's enthusiastic stick work draws a flag.
It was always one of the cardinal sins we would talk about all the time. Don't foul on the ride. You hardly ever have something good happen when you're aggressive on the ride like that.
Oh, now we have 2. I think Spiders had too many back. Ryan Hines.
We have 8 players in the box for Richmond right now.
So High Point's going to come out of this, depending on the outcome of this possession. 2 men up as Tommy Meehan starts to dodge. He lets it fly, and High Point's on the board.
I think they'll face off, and it'll still be extra man, though. One of them might get wiped out, the offsides one, but the foul for I think there was a slash.
Tommy Meehan out of Havre de Grace, Maryland. The lefty hammer for his 7th goal of the year. High Point out to a 1-0 lead as Ricardo and Anthony DiCenzo will face off. And Ricardo scoops that one up. He is 6th in the nation in ground balls per game.
But they have 2-0, I think, facing off right now so far. And again, so facing off has so much to do with the momentum of a game, whether or not you can, you know, score and get the ball back, or have the other team score and you get the ball and be able to thwart their momentum a little bit.
Cause turnover and ground ball pickup for Mitchell Dunham. Possession Spiders. They trail 1-0. Keys to the game brought to you by Ortho Virginia. Riccardi with a step down. That was blocked, and the loose ball scooped up by Westbrooks. Here we get a whistle, and
now the coach of my alma mater at Brown. High Point and Richmond were sort of played in sort of opposites the way they played. Having a lot of turnovers wouldn't have been a surprise for High Point in those situations. They would get after it.
Gavin Creo, the step down to tie the game. Long pass from Sheridan, and Creo with his 9th goal of the year. Sophomore out of Rockville Center, New York.
Love that low to high feed. For young players, watch that stroke. Overhand, you can shoot it high to high, but that's a nice shot by Gavin.
Ricardo and DeCenzo reconvene, and DeCenzo wins this one out the front door. Up on his left, fires, and again, Overend with the save. Back up O'Neal. Fresh shot clock, Richmond.
Nice move by Richard. You like to see that. Some other players, attacking the goal.
O'Neal lost one defender, then was picked up by Brenflack. O'Neal from a tough angle gives Richmond their first lead.
Comes back the short way. It looked like he might have caught the 5-hole there. It's a nice finish by Aiden.
His 24th goal of the season.
He's clearly their offensive leader. They look to him, for opportunities like this to finish.
Spiders holding for the final shot as the first quarter winds down. Sheridan gets a step. Creo. Merklinger. He fires it again. Wexley Overend with the save. Luca Ricardo at the faceoff dot against Anthony DeCenzo to start the second quarter. Ricardo prized that one out for High Point. Pickard. Now Alpaugh. Olsen sets a screen. Alpaugh hounded by Westbrooks. Olsen pings a corner.
Nice.
3-1 Spiders.
Extended possession, kept working. Again, a lot of different people involved. Richardi testing the corner a little bit. Pickard testing the top edge.
Lucas Olsen with his 12th goal of the year. Possession remains High Point. Matt Lutzel for Ryan Hines against Jack Pilling. Hines pass in front. Shot hit the crossbar from Bunton. Rebound winds up on the turf, and it's
got a little break here. Got numbers.
Scooped up by Stull. Now here comes Pilling. He lets it rip, and that's gobbled up by Overend.
And that's why he plays on the defensive midfield, John. So
Wickstead. Now Robbins. Wickstead. Discouraged by Smith. Robbins. Bunton fires, and Vigu makes the save. Ground ball scooped up by Connor Kelly.
Creo's one of those guys that spent time on that left-hand side on the attack early in the season. We mentioned that a couple of different guys have played there. But I feel like you've felt his confidence grow when he switched him out to midfield. He has just really, was comfortable doing that, and like I say, I feel like he's ready to make more plays.
Aiden O'Neal's rollback was handled by Overend, then frantic battle for the rebound winds up a High Point possession. And Tommy Meehan finishes the clear. Now it's unsettled Panthers. Hines for Owen Bunton, who cuts the Spider lead to 1.
And that was Richmond stretched themselves out a little bit on the ride there. They had Zach was out of the goal. It's like I was describing earlier about a 9.5-man ride. So now they find themselves spread out a little bit on defense. Don't cover on the backside corner. So he's not really doing much in the passing drills, Yeah,
he's like one of those guys in basketball. You give him the ball, you're not going to get it back. But he finds the back of the net often as not.
And that is a huge asset for a team.
And now the scrum off the face-off. Braden Penafeather Stevenson wins possession for Richmond.
Turn around, DeCenzo.
Well defended by Brent Flack. Now Pickard for Alpaugh. And he starts downhill. Pickard winds up, fires, and that's gobbled up by Overend. Can able to chase that pass down. Unsettled for the Panthers. Can into some space, and then lost the ball, and Dunham comes up with it for Richmond. Tommy Stull with the clear.
Numbers if they can press this a little bit.
Moore is also the number 2 Fogo. O'Neal. Rolling back on Brent Flack. O'Neal fires and finds the back of the net.
Another goal going down the short side, rolling back to his left hand.
It's O'Neal's second of the game, 25th of the year. It gives Richmond a 4-2 lead. And we have a timeout on the field, which gives us an opportunity to appreciate the work of Aidan O'Neal. Brent Flack. Well defended by Pilling. Ball winds up on the deck, but right to Cook, and he takes advantage.
I don't think you needed to extend that double so much. Left you unguarded on the back door, and it just happened that the ball trickled through, but that's how things work. We wanted to slide to support the initial defender, which is okay, but I think that ball carrier was out of range, and we should have recovered a little bit quicker there.
Again, Accardo and DeCenzo for the draw. Thus far, no violations. They've taken every face-off.
Yeah, and again, this face-off is important. If it winds up back in the Purple's hands, there's a little sense of frustration for Richmond. Well,
Accardo just threw that one away. Tommy Stull comes up with the turnover. He retreats for the invert against Stevens. Feeds O'Neal. Again, trying to get topside from a sharp angle. This time, Overend able to hold his ground. Down to Robbins. Wickstead. Now Ryan Hines, who did some damage on the invert against UMass last week. Wickstead. Now Owen Bunton. Bunton fires, and Viggy right there. His clearing pass winds up on the turf. But that's scooped up by Thompson. And the Spiders stay perfect on the clear. O'Neal up to Littlejohn, who's had a quiet half. Here's Evan O'Neal. He got loose off the side of the net.
That's a nice save.
Well, the Spiders' Littlejohn comes up with the ground ball. Creo. Now Alpaugh. He gets loose. For a pass in front, Littlejohn buries it.
Nice look. A little uncharacteristic for Alpaugh, but a nice look going down the alley.
And Lucas Littlejohn with his team-leading 30th to make it 5-3. 2:38 to go. Spiders have their second 2-goal lead of the contest. As Lucas Littlejohn has had 10 goals in the last 2 games. And Alpaugh with the assist.
That's the wheelhouse for Littlejohn right there. Just haven't been able to capitalize as often as they would like, because High Point has once more of the face-offs, and the kid in the goal has done a really nice job. And so the key, I think, for Richmond is to remain patient, keep working while staying aggressive. So it's a delicate balance, but they have enough experienced players to not to panic in a situation where the score hasn't gone strongly enough in their favor, and they want this game to be decided. They just got to keep working in order to make that happen.
So Jackson Strickland just won the first faceoff he's taken today. Here's Joe Sheridan in traffic, and the Spiders open the third quarter with a quick goal.
That's the way to start the second half.
18th of the year for Sheridan, junior out of Westchester, Pennsylvania. And it gives the Spiders their first 3-goal lead of the day, now 6-3.
Sheridan is probably the best Dodger overall. Takes the pole up top. Nice move going with strong hand.
Sophomore out of South Carolina. But this time, Luca Accardo wins it out the front door. Dumps it off for Robbins, whose shot is gobbled up by Vigu.
Big save by Vigu.
Wickstead up on the wing. Revere with 8 to shoot. Cook, 5 to shoot. Revere going to have to grip it and rip it. And Vigu comes up with the save.
Stay in tight. Don't give him anything on the inside.
Revere. Lutzel gave it up to Bunton for Wickstead. Well defended by Dunham, who knocks the ball loose and comes up with another caused turnover.
Game like this, score still much in play. That's a big stop for Richmond right there on the man down. Especially again against the team that faces off as well as High Point does.
Spiders still short for a few more seconds. Sheridan pass in front, Littlejohn. That was knocked loose by Adams, and the ground ball scooped up by Stevens for High Point. Had to play it back for Zach Brentflack. Now Adams.
He might be offsides, I think.
Yep. So whistle against High Point. Possession Spiders. Quick start by Littlejohn. And a great save on a point-blank shot by O'Neill from Zach Overend. And the quick clearing pass finding Luke Dermond. Now it's unsettled the other way. Littlejohn. Well, they got Hines trapped on D right now. This is Moore, the short stick playing Sheridan. Packard gives it up for Littlejohn, and he bounces one off the pipe. That's chased down by Packard. And now Packard gonna finally head to the bench. Ricciardi. O'Neill.
Oh,
In front, Littlejohn.
Nice look.
Lucas Littlejohn stuffs a tremendous pass, and the Spiders have a 7-3 lead.
O'Neill has done as much damage coming to his left hand as he has coming into his strength.
So 7-3 Spiders. Aiden O'Neill cutting loose with a dime to find Littlejohn between defenders.
Nice look on the inside, nice hand. Nationally, they're definitely in the top 10 on scoring defense. So they I think Richmond just wears you down with efficiency. They just, like I say, they're causing turnovers, not turning the ball over themselves, clearing effectively, all the little things that really make a difference in the game.
A spirited ground ball battle won by Strickland. And he has a go, but missed it wide. Alert back up from O'Neill. Ricciardi topside in traffic. That one sprayed wide, and O'Neill the backup. O'Neill with 2 goals and outstanding assist thus far today. His rollback gobbled up by Overend. At about the same point of the game, too, late third quarter. Ryan Hines. Under 3.5 left of the third. Spiders up 7-3. Hines has had a quiet day. Owen Bunton. Bunton from a tough angle.
Nice shot.
And Owen Bunton with his second of the day, 30th of the season, cuts the Spider lead to 7-4.
So he showed us a little bit getting back on defense and then coming down the short side.
He was able to go low to high and find the corner. Creo. Ricciardi. Littlejohn for Pickert. He winds up, lets fly, buries it.
Good goal, comes at a good moment. A little swing in momentum there to High Point, and Richmond answers.
And it's Daniel Pickert, the freshman, with his 6th goal of the campaign. He had that locked and loaded for several strides and bounces it past Zach Overend. Ryan Hines.
They can hold, but I think they should just go for a good opportunity. The way they're facing off, they need the time to work to their advantage.
Here's Colin Cook. Dunham all over him. Bunton. And he
nice play.
Lost the ball as Tommy Stull comes up with the cause turnover.
Push it now. There you go. Especially with the clock winding down.
Stull thought about it. Now draws Ryan Hines. Rolled away from him. O'Neal. Great pass in front. And Stull buries it.
Nice to have Stull rewarded after making a good play.
Tommy Stull, the senior long stick defenseman on senior day. His first goal of the season.
We felt that way when we played those ACC games late in the year. Just kind of sick looking at the Terps after a couple of weeks. So, and just Richmond both scoring and goals against, 15th in the country.
This is the 19th meeting between High Point and Richmond in a series that started when the Spiders started lacrosse in 2014. Colin Revere, he's knocked down by Farrell, but here comes a flag, and High Point's going to go man up. Bunton again, now Revere. Jeb Brenflack. Robbins feeding Lutzel. Brenflack. Robbins, and he scores.
Yeah, Richmond's in a full five-man rotation there on defense, and you can't help but get a little bit stretched out and out of position, and he was able to run through that stick on defense. So good finish for High Point.
Carson Robbins, freshman out of Ontario, who's the reigning A10 Rookie of the Week. And back at the dot, Accardo got a piece of it, scoops up a tough ground ball. Accardo in traffic and lost that one. And Vigu comes up with it. Accardo is down, and we're going to get a stoppage here. Trying to extend their dominance recently over High Point. They've won 6 in a row in this series. These two teams have frequently seen each other in the postseason in 3 different leagues. Creo on the doorstep, Merklinger to make it 10-5.
Nice look inside. And, if you are having trouble with the goalie, you're having trouble putting the ball in the goal, again, what you're telling your team is we got to just get better shots, fellas. We got to get good shots on the inside, and that's one right there.
Good off-ball play from Merklinger, sneaking behind the D.
Yeah, they completely lost him on defense.
Creo able to dime him up.
Again, the face-off piece just makes you a little bit uncomfortable over the course of the game.
Well, you can see the possibility of a run coming from High Point. But you got to score first. Backdoor pass for Robbins. Vigu got down and stopped it.
Big save. You just got to be a little bit careful about trying to just extend the clock.
Robert Chardy off a terrific pass from Creo.
If you're giving up opportunities to get good opportunities. Again, the shot clock dictates that High Point is going to get the ball back a couple times.
O'Neal just extended it.
There it is right there.
By
you get the clock
ringing
back.
one off the pipe, and now Sheridan. Passed up Littlejohn there. O'Neal. Trying to find Sheridan. That winds up on the deck. Westbrooks comes away with the ground ball. Back through Overend.
Give up some opportunities here. They've been solid defensively the whole day. They've been solid defensively the entire season. Frankly, they are a team that you need to work to get opportunities, and that's not conducive to scoring 5 or 6 goals in a short period of time.
Cook. Robbins, and he was trying to find Wickstead, and Vigu interrupting that possession. Hobbles to the Spider bench. Lucas Olson with the ball. Up to Littlejohn. Olson against Jack McAdams, a Texan. Olson gives the Spiders a 6-goal lead.
It was problematic for High Point as soon as Olson began that dodge. Once he was able to get to the middle of the field there, they needed to come to him and help out.
2 today for Lucas Olson. That's his 13th of the year. Zach Brenflack to work on the clear. Now John Adams, he's out of Denver. Brenflack again. And the pole roll dodging his way into trouble here. Might not be a bad spot for a timeout.
He's got to get in the box for that, I think.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
I was thinking it was not a bad spot for a stick check, the way he was holding the ball there.
And it winds up a turnover to Richmond. Down to O'Neill. O'Neill trying to work around Brenflack, and a save by Overend. Weitzman to work on the clear.
Again, the face-off piece always kind of concerns you, but I don't think there's enough time for High Point to get back into this one.
Merklinger with the restart, and Littlejohn on the back door, and denied by Overend.
Really nice save. And the young man's played very well in the goal.
And again, there's just been no transition offense available for High Point today. Wickstead, now Meehan, Ryan Hines. Hines trying to get to the front, and he buries it in traffic and draws a flag.
If the referee throws the flag like that, it means that they're probably going to give him the goal, I would think.
Well, Hines, who...
High Point players are trying to help the referees there by demonstrating that it should be a goal.
The officials having a conversation about multiple pieces.
Just about everybody on the bench over at High Point's trying to help the officials out there. I really appreciate that.
Looks like a group stretch. Hines had 4 goals last week, and he can play big boy lacrosse. I don't think there's much doubt that's a goal. They threw the flag first. So he's good.
He's good there.
He's hit from behind. Ball's across the line.
The flag can only be 91 on the push.
So
the goal is good.
Good.
Yeah.
Push from behind is waved off.
Yep.
Takes it against Strickland, who wins it back to Braden Pennyfeather Stevenson. They've run 7-0 middies today. Evan O'Neill played just a little bit in the first half. We haven't seen him in the second. Here's Creo. Working on Weitzman. Creo from a sharp angle is denied by Overend, who comes up with a loose ball. Adams has some room on the clear, but we're down to 1:58. High Point needs 5 goals. Brenflack.
Nice look.
Got it across for Hines, but that's deflected away by Dunham, who comes up with another one.
We were just talking about Dunham up here in the booth. He's got a magical stick.
Might see some different faces.
Richmond goes deeper into their bench here for this last few moments, knowing that High Point's going to be very aggressive, trying to get the ball back.
And Barnett able to beat a double team. Now the ball is on the ground and scooped up by Zach Brenflack. Adams, but now down to 48 seconds. Here's Can. Ryan Spillman was also out there on attack on that last sequence, a senior for Richmond. Now Revere trying to roll to space, and he hits the pipe.
I've seen a couple of those today.
And that's chased down by Owen Bunton, but we're down to 30 seconds. Wickstead to restart.
Dropping it to a zone for the last 30 seconds here.
Wickstead topside. Just trying to find Robbins, threw it away. Turnover number.
Don't have
20.
to clear it. You can just stand there, Zach.
Yeah, with 15 seconds left, Vignew will follow the Hall of Fame coach's advice.
You heard me.
Yep, he'll just eat it. Well, he'll let Dunham eat it, which is appropriate because Dunham had himself a big day. And now Sander Welty, senior, getting a little run, gets a chance to chuck one more time. And that's it. Spiders with an 11-6 win.